Hi, I'm Roger from Holistiplan, and we're going to talk about state taxes in a minute. But first, I wanted to remind you that the Bob Vera's T3 Technology Survey is now out. This is your opportunity to tell the rest of the profession what you're doing in your tech stack, what you have, what you're looking at. Obviously, we have a vested interest in you saying you are using or looking at Holistiplan because that lets the world know that we're a player in this space and that we're here to stay and that we should at least be part of the conversation when it comes to an advisor's technology stack. Last year, we weren't even on the survey. So this is a chance, this is kind of our coming out party as far as this survey goes. So we'd really appreciate you participating. I think everybody in the profession benefits when they get a large sample size for that survey. And of course, Holistiplan benefits if you tell the world that you're using Holistiplan. All right, so state taxes. So first of all, thank you to everybody who contributed to that huge spreadsheet we had going of all the state tax hints, the planning sort of implications of living in one state or another. We got a huge response on that. It actually took quite a while to get it all compiled and into the system. That was actually the biggest delay. It wasn't the coding or anything like that. That was it. A few of my favorites, in Hawaii, there's the $3,000 per tree deduction if you spend money on preserving a quote-unquote exceptional tree. So that was interesting. That's just like a whimsical one I liked. New York State, a lot of people told us about the fact that in New York State, your first $20,000 of a retirement account distribution is tax-free at the state level, and that's per person. And so if you have a client who needs to take $40,000 out of retirement, make sure that each spouse takes 20 out first rather than do 40 out of one. I think Delaware is the same thing. I think that's per person as well. Theirs is not 20,000. I think there's a formula based on income or something like that as to how much is tax-free. Another one that a lot of people pointed out was Virginia. The 529 deduction is not per taxpayer, and it's not even per beneficiary. It's actually per account. And apparently that's like a loophole that everyone from Virginia who told us about this said you can fully expect this loophole to close eventually. But it is true that apparently in Virginia, if you want to put a lot away into a 529 and make it all deductible at a state level, just open a whole bunch of accounts. So that was kind of interesting. So, and you can tell like some of these things were new to me and some of them I'd heard before. And so we're just putting them down on paper. We did a little bit of research to make sure we could verify some of them, but buyer beware. Make sure that as you look through your own state in particular, if there's any mistakes or anything that needs to be added or changed, let us know and we can just make sure we iterate through that and make sure it's perfect. But that's going to show up in the tax report. So at the bottom of tax report now, if you've added a state at the household level to whatever that taxpayer is, it'll automatically pop up a list of anything that we got from you, Holistiplan members, anything worth noting from a planning perspective at the state level. Those will all pop up there. And if you want to play with it, you can just change the state in the drop down and see all the things that we've gotten from people. Is that going to stay in tax report? I don't know. It's something that's maybe less client. The tax report for the most part is stuff that's client facing, stuff you want your client to see. Well, if your client lives in Alaska, it's not helpful for your client to see there's no state tax in Alaska. So, I mean, admittedly, you can still hide that, but maybe these state tax hints should show up in a different place, like maybe the household list. But for now, it's at the bottom of tax report. You can change the state. If there's no state selected, you can add one, and then it'll add these bullet points. And you can hide that section just like any other section in tax report. So take a look at that. Thank you to everyone who contributed to that. It's a pretty amazing resource we've already developed, and I know that once we get some of the comments in, it'll be even better. So thank you for that. Now, as far as state tax calculations go within the scenario analysis screen, we do have something there. It exists. It's been there for a number of weeks now. California, New York, Virginia, Minnesota. And we just haven't released it even as a beta yet because there's just some design type decisions that we have to firm up and probably need to really sit with a CPA on. So I will say this, if you have a very high tolerance for early beta software and you feel like you'd be able to be helpful on that effort, let us know. So California, Virginia, New York, Minnesota, if you're in one of those states or are pretty knowledgeable about those states, and you want to take a look at what we've got on the scenario analysis screen for state tax calculations, let us know. We'll happily put you into like an unofficial beta round on that. And then, like I said, we probably are going to need to run this by like a CPA and kind of think through some of the design implications. The hard part with state is you could go so deep on it that it would become unusable. It would be, dozens and dozens of fields just to estimate if it's 5% or 4.5% tax at the state level. And so we have to always find this balance between completeness and complexity, simplicity and not full functionality. And so that's what we're working through now. And so, yeah, we would love if you feel brave enough to take a look at that, we'll happily have you in there. Just email us, support@holistiplan.com. And you can take a look at what we've got, and we'd love to get your feedback. And if you feel like it's in a usable state now, that'll help us, because then we can roll it out to all the other advisors like you, and we start adding other states. But that's where we're at now. So again, please, the Veris T3 survey that helps everyone, helps us, helps you, helps everyone in the profession when they get a higher response rate on that. And then state tax hints, look for them in tax report. And then state tax calculations, something exists, it's just that we're not showing it to you yet. But if you want to see it, let us know and we'll let you see it. All right, thanks.